I'm Maysha with As Long as You're Breathing. Some of you may have noticed that this week I've been replaying or starting to replay one a day pretty much, the Twin Flame series that I did back in February. I was guided to do that this week. Just kind of a little weird, but I was like, okay, I do what I'm guided to do, as you all know. And then today when I was on my walk, I was given a teaching to do on people and wearing masks. And as you all know who followed that series, I talk extensively about that because in the story, one of the twins wore a mask. Well, it turned out both twins actually wore a mask, but for different reasons, very different reasons. And so that was a good deal of the story was about that. So apparently that's why I'm replaying that series, is because they wanted me to talk more about why people wear masks and how we should handle that. And I think what I have to say about how we should handle someone wearing a mask and unmasking themselves should be handled may surprise some people. So I don't normally talk from notes, as you all know, but they did give it to me on my walk. And yes, and I haven't stopped even to take my allergy medicine today, which y'all can hear. So I'm going to just speak some from the notes, but how much, I don't know. Most of it's probably still with me, but anyway. First of all, if we're in alignment, if we're being our authentic self, how do we even attract someone in who's wearing a mask? Well, first and foremost, no one's always in perfect alignment, okay? We can't be 24/7 in perfect alignment. So there are going to be moments when we are putting out fragmented energy also. That's another thing we've talked about as well, is that even when we are putting out the right energy, we fragment our energy. We do that by, well, I want this, and we're real excited. And then we may vary a bit in what we want. And so we fragment the energy that we put out, or we may have doubt. And when we do that, we fragment the energy that we put out. We may say, I want the most perfect love in the world. I want it this way. And then so we've sent all that energy out, and the universe is dying to give it to us because it's on our hearts anyway, because we already wrote the story, and that's what we're supposed to be lit up and putting out. But then we have that, oh, well, I can't have that. That's not supposed to happen for me. And then we fragment the energy. And so then we attract in something that's not exactly that, or something along those lines. So those are ways we can do it. Another way we can do it is we get scared. We've put out the energy for what we want, and then something comes along that's close to the vibrational frequency, because remember, we're always attracting into it. So we've put out what we want. We have to be discerning all the time at what's coming toward us. We've put out a frequency. There are all sorts of vibrational frequencies that match or are close to it that are coming at us. So we have to be discerning at what is coming toward us. Yep, that one's mine. We have to be constantly doing our energy management and aware. We put out the vibrational frequency that we want to be in a relationship. We put out specifics about that relationship, and then we see something coming that looks close to it. And we're like, oh yeah, that must be it. Well, or no, that's really not it, but maybe I better take that. Maybe that's as close as I'm going to come, or because I really didn't deserve it anyway. I'm really not good enough for what I asked for. I'm just going to settle for that. Or we don't even think to question that. We're just like, oh, I asked for something and here it comes. And so that must be it. And so those kinds of things. So we end up getting the wrong thing. We don't wait for the right thing, or we settle because we're not discerning enough, or because we don't think we really deserve what we asked for anyway. So we better grab that while we've got a chance. And so we end up in relationships with someone who's wearing a mask. But the other thing is, it could be our twin flame. We're going to automatically be attracted to that person, and we're going to be drawing one another in. And so, but they could not be healed yet. We could not be healed yet. There could be all sorts of things going on in the dynamic. So one or both could be wearing a mask, but you're still going to be attracted to one another because you are a twin flame, or a very high vibrational match soulmate. Soulmates that are very close in alignment. The same thing can happen there too. Okay. Parallels, same thing. All right. And I've taught on parallels before. All right. They're okay, this was your twin, well, one next to you with your parallel. Okay. So that was something channeled to me. I'm hearing no one else teach on that. But you know me, Bear in a China Shop, they channeled it to me. I'm teaching it. I have no reason to doubt it. I have no reason to doubt it. And so therefore I'm teaching it. And then there are those who are, we're wearing a bit of a mask ourselves. You see, we all have the right to privacy. And the way we have our privacy is we do all tend to wear a bit of a mask about things. And so we're going to talk a bit more about that in just a little bit. But then there's also those who are targeting us. Yes. I don't want to talk heavily on this, but there are those who wear masks for malicious purposes. And they are looking for high vibrational people because they want that energy from that person. And therefore, they wear a mask and they pretend to be something they're not. And they are very good at it. They're very good at being charming. They're very good at being in this right vibrational frequency to align with you. And you have to be very discerning and very in touch with your gifts to recognize. And you certainly cannot be in the mode of settling. You can't be in that place of, well, they're not exactly what I want, but maybe that's what I'm supposed to get anyway. You can't second guess. You can't be in that mode of, well, I really don't deserve what I'm looking for anyway. You can't be in that energy of letting friends and family tell you you're always aiming too high. And if I sound like I'm talking from experience there, I'm just going to come right out and tell you I am talking from experience. I've been targeted, and that is exactly what I did. I made those comments. I'm like, this is like 90% what I want probably, but there's something off. And I had family and friends saying, you always aim too high. You're always saying things like that. And if I had listened to my gut, but I didn't. You see, we have these gifts and we don't listen to them. It wasn't just my gut. I had alarm bells of all kinds going off. But I didn't understand enough about my gifts then to listen to them. So listen to your gifts, because we are targeted, folks, by people who are malicious. All right. So enough about those. Let's go back to why people wear masks now. Well, I mentioned we all wear masks to a degree for our privacy. We don't want everyone to know everything about us, and that's okay. We don't have to let everyone in. Look, to the degree that I let people in. Even I have some mask, folks. Even I have some things that I don't let everyone see. And that's perfectly fine. We all have the right to our privacy. The issue comes when we get out of balance with it. When it's not just that we're being private because we have a right to privacy, but we have other emotional issues, other energetic issues, societal programming, past traumas, other pressures put on us. We're stepping into roles and filling those roles. Things like that cause us to put on masks in a dysfunctional way. That is when there is a problem. And so really having our privacy, that is a choice we're making about what we're willing to share or not share. But it is a type of mask wearing. It's when it gets way out of proportion and we actually become people who are filling roles. That's wearing masks. And see, we've been taught for years that that's what we're supposed to do. This is something I talked about yesterday, and about what Pluto is calling us to do with rebirth in this full moon that we're in, that how everyone, and I'm not saying that we're not supposed to look at some things and decide, do I release it, progress from it, or do I simply rebirth it? Certainly there are just individual things, but also we're being called to look at our whole lives and decide, am I just filling a bunch of roles? Do I need to rebirth everything here and stop having all these masks on, all these roles I'm filling, and say, hold the phone. My energy is fragmented all over the place here. My life is fragmented all over the place here. This is not healthy, happy, whole, and complete. This isn't my happy ever after. I can guarantee you, this is not the story I wrote and came here to live. They're not, parts of this are not lighting me up at all. I want to be me. I'm free to be me. And I want to exercise that freedom. And I want to step into my authentic self, take off all these masks, stop playing these roles. And that doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of my responsibilities. If I'm a parent, I'm going to continue to be a parent, but that role is going to become tailor-made to me. I'm not going to step into that role and play it. I'm going to be the parent I'm meant to be. I'm going to be me as a parent, not the parent everyone else around me is saying, this is how you are a parent. No, I am me, and I'm going to be the parent I am meant to be. I'm going to be the employee I am meant to be. Now, granted, we have to live up to the job description. There are certain baselines that are required there. But it's your own unique individuality being brought to that job that is going to make you successful at that job. The same thing as a parent. There's your own unique individuality that is going to make you the most amazing friend, the most amazing brother, sister, father, daughter, lover, friend, everything. So when you take on a role, when you put on the mask, when you step into that, you're giving up the best part of you. So why do we do that? Well, one, society taught us that's the way we do it. And that's just the truth. That I've taught about this many times. I've talked about how I used behavioral style analysis and communication to fix nursing homes, long-term care facilities. And I talked about how I was thrilled when they came out with all these different tools, all these different assessments, the same tool, but different versions of it for home and work and church, et cetera, et cetera. And now I know that was totally backwards, that it should have been, no, this is who you are. Now take that person and make all of your life tailored to being that person. So you are not fragmenting who you are. You're not fragmenting the energy you're putting out, and you are healthy, happy, whole, and complete. Not when life is always going to have fires, okay? And life is always going to have trauma over there, drama over there. And then there are going to be the things in our lives that are smooth and easy and wonderful. But when we're going at all of those things from a different perspective, a different angle, a different approach, well, I have to handle that fire that way because that's the expectation. That's the mask I wear there. That's the role I play. I have to handle that this way because that is the expectation. That is the role I play. That is the mask I wear. That I have to, oh, well, I get to be easy over there. But, well, everybody in all of these situations know me as this way. So I'm still wearing a mask, even though that's an easy. And, well, this is easy over here too. But, well, there are people over here that, well, they know me this way. And so I wear a mask, even though that's easy. I'm wearing a mask over there too. And you see how fragmented we are? You see how fragmented we are? Imagine if we took snapshots of all the different looks that we are playing, all the different masks that we have on, and say you're a business owner and you put all these different looks on your website, and somebody goes through your website and they're like, which person are they? I'm not sure. They're supposed to be a banker, but I'm not sure what kind of banker they are. Are they a fun-loving banker? Are they a very serious banker? Or, okay, they're supposed to be an interior designer. Or I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of person I'm dealing with here, because they've got all these personas. Their energy is fragmented all over the place. We don't realize that we're doing this. We think that we are doing the right thing. It's a defense mechanism that we have been taught to do. It's a coping mechanism that we have been taught to do. Matter of fact, we've been taught that we're doing the right thing. We've been taught to do this. We've been taught this is your role here. This is your responsibility. This is your duty. Step up and do your duty. Okay, your duty, that you have one. Come here and be the one and only you. And then do everything in your life as the one and only you. Tailor it to you. And then you show up in your uniqueness, and it's not fragmented energy. And then you get a snapshot of you over here with this trauma, dealing with it and putting that fire out over there, and in this easy situation here and that easy situation there. And imagine then owning a business and putting all those snapshots on there. And they're like, yeah, wow, yeah. They kind of look different in all of these because they're dealing with different things, but man, they're the same person. I see the uniqueness in them. I see what makes them special. I say, yeah, this is the person I want to deal with. You're putting out, I know I'm talking business here, but I do have people that I deal with that do business stuff. And for some reason, that's what they're channeling to me, is they're giving me this images of business websites and people not looking consistent on their business pages. So that's what I'm going with, people. I just go with what I'm given. So, but yeah, so, and people do this also because they have imposter syndrome. They feel like, okay, I really don't feel good enough for what I'm pretending to be. I've stepped into this role of this really high position. I don't know how I got it. And believe me, I have felt imposter syndrome so many times. When I was a brand new director of nursing, I had not been out of school that long, y'all. And ended up director of nursing of a 50-bed skilled facility that hadn't had a deficiency, and I don't think they could remember the last deficiency they had. That's how pristine this facility was. And here I was running it. And it was like, oh my gosh, talk about feeling like an imposter. And I remember our new CEO, Les Luke, ironically, musician that I am, his name was Les Paul. I'm serious, his name was Les Paul. And Leslie Paul Luke. Calling me all the way up to the corporate office, which wasn't that big of a deal because we were a small town, a small organization, but still called to the corporate office to talk to me because he was worried about me, because he knew that I was feeling, we didn't label it imposter syndrome, but he knew I was feeling the stress of it. And he's like, there's something I want to tell you, and I want to tell you to your face. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, there's an article I want you to read. He said, and because you don't feel like you deserve to be where you're at, but you got the job because you absolutely deserve it. And you're the right person for the job. And many things had gone on with that job that made me think I wasn't the right person. But many things, I knew I was the right person. I knew here I was the right person, and knew I was the right person. And yet at the same time, insecurities, all sorts of things. And so he said, I know, I don't want you to read it here. He said, I know what you tend to do. You tend to, because I was one of those people, I was always working. So like if I was in between meetings, even at the corporate place, I would sit out in the veranda area, and I would read whatever I had to read. I mean, I was always working. And so he said, no, that's not what you do. I want you to wait until you're back at your office and it's quiet. I want you to close the door, and then I want you to read the article. This is back when you couldn't just email me and tell me to pull it up on it. It was an actual article. And so I read the article when I got back to my office, and it was all quiet and everything. And it was the Fortune 500 and their biggest fear. And every one of them is that someone was going to figure out they were faking it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so, yeah. So imposter syndrome, everybody feels it, you all. Everybody feels it. We all feel like we're being fake at some point. We all feel like, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough for that person. I'm not good enough for this job. I'm not good enough for this, whatever it is I'm doing. I mean, how is this happening to me? But you've attracted it in. That's what you have. That's why energy management is so important. That's why it is so important that we know we are energetic beings. Us not knowing those things has caused us to have these issues. Once you know your energy, then you know if you aren't good enough for it, you can't possibly attract it in. If you didn't have the right energy about you to put out to attract it in to begin with, you wouldn't have attracted it in. So imposter syndrome goes away once you understand that. That person that lights you up like they do, that person that you've attracted in, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they like me too. I can't believe I see I light them up, and I still can't believe it. Believe it. Believe it. And you're like, well, I was really at my best at that moment. That's what it was. Okay, maybe you were. And yes, we can put on a bit of an act and put out a vibrational frequency and bring someone in, but we can't keep them that way. That's not how we keep someone. Remember what I told you about the people who target us. Everything in me was screaming, you've been targeted. It wasn't screaming that exactly, but it was saying, this isn't your person. Even when we're wearing a mask, our true vibrational frequency is really coming out. We really can't hide who we are. Now we can get into denser energies and we can attract things to us from those denser energies, but it doesn't change at the core what our vibrational frequency is. We were born in a certain vibrational frequency. We can get into denser energies. We can operate from denser energies. I can be as depressed as can be. I have been so sick at times that I have been in such dense energies. I haven't felt well, but I could still walk in a room. And the fact that I'm high vibrational, people automatically felt the change in the energy in the room. And I didn't understand that for years. I understand it now. And I don't say that from a place of ego. I say it from a place of I understand energy management. I've been to Akasha. I know what my vibrational set point frequency is. So I know even when I am in a dense energy, I know that whenever I'm walk into a room, I know that I have an impact on that room from my vibrational frequency. So you can wear a mask if you want to. You can be concerned that you were just at a really good place. You were just accidentally high vibrational and you attracted that person in. Not if there's any amount of time that that continues, because you can't fake the vibrational frequency for any amount of time. If there's a true attraction there, then it's because your true vibrational frequency is what's attracting them. So imposter syndrome is something we need to understand energetically doesn't exist. We can't mask who we are, really. Not really. Even those who do it so well are really not masking. Okay. All right. So wearing a mask is exhausting. You don't really need to do it because you're not accomplishing anything. I've already said that energetically, your true vibrational frequency is coming out anyway. It's more work than being real. But it's our level of consciousness that tells us we have to do it, which I've already said. It's the societal programming. It's our understanding of things. It's the coping mechanisms we've been taught. It's the expectations of us. It is our responsibilities and our duties. It's the way things done. It's the traumas that we have suffered. Well, I was open and honest once. I was vulnerable once. And damn, that hurt. So now I'm got my walls up, I've got my mask on, and I'm never doing that again. What was going on in that whole situation? Your mask being on has nothing to do with it now. What was the level of consciousness of the person at the time? What was the gratitude the two of you were putting out toward one another? What was the entire situation? The energy you're expending, putting on a mask, you're denying yourself being plugged in wholly at all times into the vibrational frequency you're supposed to be in. Your baseline frequency is there, but you're fragmenting your energy. You are fragmenting your identity. So you're showing up for this fire and that trauma and drama and that easy place and that easy place and that fire and that trauma and drama, fragmented, playing roles instead of showing up in your identity. Instead of being in that baseline vibrational frequency that you were born in, that high vibrational frequency that is yours all the time, and even exceeding that because you can understand energy management and you can even exceed it. You can get into those 1 + 1 = 3 relationships and become exponential. Instead, you're expending so much energy on something that is not really getting you anywhere. All right? So what do we do if we have this in our lives? What do we do if we have someone in our lives that, well, they're wearing a mask? Well, we need to know that we have to respect the fact that they're wearing the mask. What? I'm supposed to respect the fact that somebody's wearing a mask with me? Yes. It's their right to do so. It's their level of consciousness. It's their choice. Well, what about me helping them realize it and helping them take it off and helping them see the error of their ways? And, I see it, I understand it. And yeah. But you can't do that for them. That's not your place. No matter how much you want to. Especially relationships, we want to so badly. When we see our children masking who they are, and we know they're doing it. When we see our brother or our sister doing it, when we see a parent doing it, when we see an amazing employee doing it, and especially when it's the person we're in love with, or our twin, for God's sakes, doing it. Sure, we want to run in and we want to explain it to them and we want to show it to them and we want to change their level of consciousness on it. But it's not our place to do. As a matter of fact, if that's what we're wanting to do, we're truly not accepting them at where they're at that moment in time. When we want to change someone, when we want to show them how they need to change, we're not accepting them where they're at. Now, if they come to you and they ask, and they want to mirror with you, or they want to know, where can I go for help with this? Then at that point, absolutely, you step up and you give what you're being asked for. But, and especially for those who have the clear abilities and they see right through the mask, or Spirit's shown them. As tempting as it is to say, I know you're wearing a mask with me. I know this, I know that. It's not your place. Let's say you are right. Let's just say you guessed it and you're right. What have you accomplished? If that person's not ready to take off the mask, you know what you're going to do? They're going to glue it on. Where before they just had, one of those little plastic, elastic bands always around. Yeah. When you tell them, I know you're wearing a mask with me, you know what they're going to do? They're going to glue the thing on. What do you mean? Because then it's like, then you've really scared them. I thought my mask is slipping. I thought I had it on so well. My mask is slipping. You scared them. They won't like the word scared, but that's what you've done. You've alarmed them. You've brought them anxiety. You've caused them, they thought they were doing so well with this role they were playing, with this persona, with this energy they were putting out. They thought they had it all under control. So no, you respect their right. Look at all the energy they're expending. And you're going to cause them to expend more by confronting them and telling them, I know you're wearing a mask. Let me help you with that. Let me show you what you need to do about that. That's not what we do. If they come to us and they want to talk about it, if they are ready to talk about it, well, then by all means we can talk about it, but not until. And even then, only to the degree they're ready. Because you see, they may want to take the mask off a little at a time. And they may think they are totally unmasking even. Their level of consciousness about the mask they have on, because they may have multi-layers of it. They may take it off a little at a time. And you have to deal with the level of consciousness that they are unmasking themselves. And you have to accept that. It is not our place to unmask them for them. It is up to them to do it. That is their healing to do. That is their progressing to do. That is their change in level of consciousness to do. They are free to do that. You see, how do you want to be treated? If there's something that's causing you to feel you need to wear a mask, how do you want to be treated? I'm convinced I need to have a mask on. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. I'm so nervous and anxious about this, and I am absolutely positive this is the right thing. I need to have a mask on. So yeah, and I don't want somebody jerking it off. I'm not ready for it to be jerked off. I'm not ready for somebody to confront me with it. If they did, I would be anxious, and there would be, no, I'm not ready for that. Okay, so what's the energy you're going to put out? You're going to go up to somebody and jerk their mask off. Oh. You see, when we talk about this, usually we're talking about all these positive things. Yeah, you know, you want to be treated great. You want to be treated with respect. So you show yourself respect, then you put respect out. But what about when we are got our things we're dealing with and we're healing from, and oh, I'm not quite there yet. And so how do I want to be treated when I'm not quite there yet? Well, I don't want somebody pushing me. I want to get there when I'm ready to get there. I want to get there my way. I'll reach out to them when I'm ready. I don't want to be pushed. Okay, I don't want to be pushed, so I don't push. See, the problem is the ego. It's like, I've got this, I've learned this, I know what to do. Now I can go help people. No, only if they want our help. What? But we've learned this, we know this, and plus we're getting downloads about it. We know. What do you mean we're not going in? Come to save the day? No. How do you want to be treated? Well, before we knew about this, we didn't want to be treated that way. No, we didn't. We wanted to be respected. We wanted to be supported. We wanted to be treated with kindness and understanding. We didn't want to be judged. We didn't want to be labeled. We wanted to be loved right where we were. Yeah, we did. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that you go ahead and you be in relationship with somebody wearing a mask with you. If they're at a vibrational frequency that's different than yours, if they're wearing a mask and it's causing them to behave in a way towards you that is creating an energy deficit loop with you, then certainly you don't allow that. But you still treat them with the same respect you would want to be shown. Because guess what? You've been that person before. Yep, we have. All right. So we show them respect, and we respect where they're at, and we don't label it, and we don't call it they're in denser energy or they're at a different level of consciousness and make it sound like that's a bad thing, because it's not. No, it's not. Because remember, doctors and lawyers, how much knowledge do they have? And yet, equal as they are, they have different levels of consciousness. And that's all levels of consciousness means, is what are you aware of? Doctors are aware of things that lawyers are oblivious to. Lawyers are aware of things that doctors are oblivious to, yet they're considered equals in society by most people. Okay? But their levels of consciousness are entirely different. So the fact that someone is wearing a mask because they're at a different level of consciousness than you does not mean that they're down here. Now, are they in denser energy? They may be in denser energy, but only about certain things. And you at times may be in denser energy about other things. They can be quite transcendent in other ways. Oh, yeah. We've had things we've been in dense energy about, and we've been really transcendent in lots of things. So, yeah. I guess they don't need us to come save the day. No. They need the time to take the whole mask off. They need the time to rebirth and stop playing roles and to tailor all the roles to who they really are. So they're not sending out fragmented energy and living a fragmented identity. Because that's really what a mask is about. We're not just fragmenting our identity. We're just flat out masking it. And often we're not even aware of it because society has taught us that that is the way to live. And without energy management, without understanding we are energetic beings, without understanding that with these masks on, we're not attracting to us that which we're supposed to have, or if we are attracting it to us, we're then putting out the energy, well, I attracted you to me, but I'm also going to push you away. I'm going to put this mask on and send out, I'm not grateful for having you. So I attracted this job in because I went to school, I got the degree, et cetera, but I don't feel like I deserve the job. So I'm putting this mask on, this imposter syndrome thing on. Maybe I'm arrogant and cocky. Maybe that's the mask I'm putting on, is instead of, oh, I don't deserve this, I'm putting on, I am the king here. I know exactly what I'm doing, when it's really, no, you're not supposed to know. You're new at the job, but you're afraid to admit that. So you go in and you act like you know everything. That's the mask you're wearing. So the energy you're putting out causes you to actually lose that job. You see how this works? And it's all about energy, folks. When we look at everything from the standpoint of energy management, we take all the, well, look how silly they're acting. Look how immature they are. Can you believe they're doing that to him, to her? Can you believe what they did over at that job? Can you believe what a parent they are? Can you believe the choices they're making? Can you believe how great they are at home, but how they suck at work? Can you believe what a great employee they are, but what a terrible father, mother, daughter, son, brother they are? None of those things apply when we understand that it's all energy management. So if someone is wearing a mask with you, it's their level of consciousness. It's their issue to deal with. And if they take it off all at once or a little at a time, people who are wearing masks because they're afraid, they're hiding, that they're fearful, they will usually go ahead and tend to take it off more quickly and just say, okay, I'm afraid and this isn't getting me anywhere. So here, mask off, I'm afraid, help, Whereas people who are truly fragmented all over the place and playing all these different roles, when it's not like just I'm afraid here and I'm afraid there, but really their life is fragmented and they're playing a role here, a role there, a role here, a role there. They're the ones that it's going to take them longer, and they're going to have to peel it off a little at a time, perhaps, because it's become how they've lived their life. I'm so glad for having had behavioral styles introduced to me when I did. You see, I didn't understand. I didn't come to the realization about roles in order to articulate it the way I have until the past couple of years. But yet at the same time, innately, I knew there's something messed up here. Because I remember how good I felt about who I was at work and how I didn't like who I was at home. And yet I didn't want to be different people. I wanted to be the same person. I didn't want to be afraid at home. And how did that happen anyway? Because I didn't start out that way. I didn't get that way until the kids were born. And then I was like, you can't stand up now. You've got to put up with crap now because kids are here and you can't rock the boat. And so I'd been brave and bold up to that point. So I knew something was off with that whole, I'd slipped into a different persona and it was playing a different role there. And I knew something was off, but my health was also plummeting. It was plummeting because I'd stepped into those roles. My health had not been good as a little girl. I was playing all sorts of roles. When I would get out of that and go stay with aunts and uncles, or lived with my sister for a period of time, or my mom and I ended up living alone toward the end, my health would get better. And then when I'd have to go back to where, okay, now be this, no, now be quiet, now get in the box, now get out of the box, my health was all over the place. Looking back, I see so clearly. I see it also clearly. Some part of me knew that I've got to be where I can be consistent, where I can be me. And I don't know how many times over the years, what I would say is, you're asking me not to be who I am. Who I am is not okay. You're saying who I am is not okay. No, that's not what I'm saying. Just don't do this, this, and this. So I'm grateful for the fact that I was introduced to behavioral styles, so that's what I used. I wish that there's a reason for everything, but I wish that I had gotten more clarity with it many years ago, but I didn't. But thankfully, I only had a mask here for a little bit and a mask there for a little bit and a mask here for a little bit. And yes, I have my privacy issues like everyone else, but I don't tend to be a mask wearer. I've tended to reject that. I truly am pretty much a bear in a china shop, folks. I'll put one on for a little bit and then I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then I'll pull the thing off and say what I need to say. It may take me a bit, but I do it. Whereas other people are so ingrained with the societal programming of, this is what you are to do, and this is how it is, and no, you got to just cope here because everybody else expects it, and you know what you'll do to everyone else if you don't, and so they step up and they do all this because and they sacrifice who they are. They fragment their identity all over the place, putting out the fire for this group, doing the trauma drama thing for that group, breathing a little easy over here, but everybody expects them to look this way, breathing a little easy over there, but everybody expects them to look that way. And they've got a fragmented identity. I'm so grateful that I've not been that person. I've come close a few times, mostly because my health is not giving me the energetic bandwidth to be the bear in the china shop that I usually am. But I don't want to always be a bear in a china shop either. And I use that a lot. I'm really not that much of one. I really can dial it back a lot more than I carry on, folks. That's a bit of a, I tend to often overstate things to kind of make a point. Am I a bear in a china shop? Yeah, but I certainly know when not to be one too. That's kind of a mask I wear that is, well, a different type of mask. It's a mask to being a little over the top will get people's attention and they'll say, oh yeah, I know who that girl is. She's the one that's always like this. I'm not always like that, folks. There are people who think so, but I'm not. Frequently, yes, but not always. Mask. If there's someone in your life wearing one, it's not your place to fix them. Accept them for where they're at. If you really think, well, they would be just perfect once I get them fixed and get that mask off of them, then you're not really wanting that person. Now, it could be that with them wearing that mask, that they've put you in an energy deficit loop And you do have to step out of the relationship because of that. That could be true. But it still doesn't change the fact that that just means that you're not in energetic alignment, and therefore they're not your person for that reason. If it's truly that person that you care about, you don't want to change them. You do want to see them become their authentic self. You do want to see them take all the fragmented identities and put them into their true authentic self, because you've recognized the glimpses of those. You've seen their real energy, and that's what you've been attracted to. But if they're not going to consistently be that, then yes, you're going to get energy deficits, most likely, energy deficit loops going in. And no, you can't sacrifice yourself thinking, well, if I do this and if I do that, then they'll get it, and I can support them, and no, you can't. Only they can do that. But now if they ask for your support, certainly give it. But don't sacrifice your own energy. Don't put yourself into an energy deficit loop to do it. Because each person's healing work is their own to do. We can support someone in healing, but we can't do it for them. And we can never help someone if we sacrifice our own self-care to do it. So mask. We all wear them to a degree. It starts with just being private. It's when they get out of balance, it's a problem. And society has taught us that we play all these roles, and we end up putting all these masks on for these roles, fragmenting our identity. And that is bass backwards, folks. It's not the way to do it at all. And we're learning. We're all raising our vibrational frequency out of the denser vibrations. We're all coming to terms with, society's told us a bunch of stuff that wasn't right. And all this coping stuff, I'm having to heal from all that coping stuff. And all those years of going through psychotherapy to get over things, there are better, faster ways to do it. Not saying that psychotherapy is all bad. I believe in an integrated approach. I truly believe in an integrated approach. If you need psychotherapy, if that works for you, then use it, but use energy management too. Because the psychotherapy takes so long because we didn't know about energy management. When you use energy management, the psychotherapy will not take you years. When you use energy management, none of that's going to take you years. You'll see things entirely differently. All right? But someone is wearing a mask in your life. It's the level of consciousness they're at. It's their level of consciousness to be at. It's not about you. So how did you attract them in? Well, we covered all of that. The mask they're wearing, it's not about you. It's all about them and their choice. And the fact that you did attract them in, there's something there. So if they ask for your support, you give it, if it can be a positive energy loop. But if it can't, then you send light and love, and you support them that way. But you never go, come to save the day. I wonder how many people knew who Underdog was. There were probably people going, what is she doing? That's Underdog, folks. I've come to save the day. Yeah, I know. I mean, he was a dog, not a bear. So I was being a dog in a china shop today. So, yeah. Remember, we all wear masks. That's how it happens. And society has programmed us to play all these roles, fragment our energy, fragment our identity. We're defragging the identity, folks, rebirthing ourselves here as one whole, complete person, so we can live in great big capital letters as long as we're breathing. Unmasked.